Good evening, everyone that's just joining us. Good evening. I think Baker May is just joining, and others. Good evening. Okay, so we're looking at email automation today. Or I think before we start, let's go over the Excel automation and look at what we did so we can, I guess, refresh our memory. Okay, so I said there are two types of or two sets of activities we use to perform automation with spreadsheets and workbooks, and they are the Excel app integration and the workbook activities. So we can differentiate what are the differences between the two types? Can enumerate them for us. Not takers. Okay, Zion.
Okay, so I think the major difference between them is with the workbook activity, you don't need the file to be opened, or you don't need Excel to be opened, or you don't even need Excel to be installed on your PC. But with the workbook activity, with the workbook, you don't need Excel to be installed on your PC. But with the Excel activity, you need Excel to be installed and actually opened before the activity would work.
Okay, so that's correct. But actually for Excel app integration, you don't need to have Excel opened. You just need it to be installed on your system. If it's not open, UiPath to open it automatically. But you are still right. I think the other difference is what or how you can work with the applications. So for the workbook set of activities, we can't use it while the PDF is open. So while the Excel sheet is open. And then for the Excel app integration, we can use it whether the sheet is open or not. So those are the two core differences. And other than that, they both have the same set of activities. So they will have the get range, read range, append range. What else? What activity do they have? Write range and read cell, read. So I hope we, to an extent, got some practice with these activities, and we can have at least a level of mastery on working with workbooks in UiPath. So I think we did this activity, and we did. Okay, who can explain? So I think we started this new what I call it, piece of code, or this new function in our program yesterday. So who can explain to us again what it does or what it did in the program we ran yesterday? The cint row 0, and then that's in a for each row activity. Okay, Zion again. So Zion, that's it.
Okay, so basically cint is just a function to convert something to an integer. Maybe a string, for example, converts it to an integer.
And then the 0 allows us to access the cell in the first position in our data row or in our row item. So in our row item for each row activity. Okay, so I think that is mainly what we did yesterday. Then there's this practice exercise. I think, did you all do this exercise on our own? Or did anyone do it?
Yes, I did it.
Or it sound like there's a bot coming up. Did it? Okay.
No, I actually, it is not that difficult. Do you explain
Okay.
yesterday, so it wasn't a problem.
Okay, then thank you for that. So I hope every other person also attempted and finished it also. And then I think I said we should all read on the rest of this activity. So I hope you have gone through that. And we have seen the other activities there. So without further talking, let's look at email automation. Now, email automation is the process of automating tasks that are related to emails, and in order to handle them efficiently with minimal effort, to automate emailing tasks without human effort, or with the very basic human effort. And there are two situations where we might want to automate email tasks. So in cases when we have our email as an input, that is our email, so our automation uses data or information from the email as input for other processes. Or in the case where we want to send information or data from a process as an email out. So I think we have some story about how email is the oldest form of digital communication between two people to this day. Then there are. Okay, now let's look at the situation we talked about earlier. So email as an input for the business process. Here, an email uses information from an incoming, automation uses information from an incoming email, and data is received in textual form as part of the subject or body of the email or as an attachment. For an example, an Excel file, PDF, or other file types. So I think that means we can actually work with email attachments also, to not just the email now to be useful to us. UiPath allows us to extract information from attachments, be it Excel, PDF, or any other file type can work with, so that UiPath can work with. And while for the situation where you want to use our email as an output, this is where the automation it creates or processes data and then sends it according to our predefined set of rules. So an example of when we might use something like that is when we are creating progress reports or exception alerts. So let's say we have an exception in our process, we might want to send a mail to maybe the head of development or to your boss about what exception you have encountered. Nextly, we have to look at, so to perform these mail activities, we have to install a UiPath.mail activities, which, okay, I think we all know how to do that. Same process as we have used to install other packages. So we go to our package manager and then search for this and get the official one, which relates to UiPath. Okay, now, so for emails, there are some set of rules which in bodies or which have been established for communicating between two computers via email. And each of these protocols or rules have their own key differences and key uses. Yeah, and okay, so as you can see on the screen now, there are more than 5, but then these are the most common 5 that we will most likely be using in UiPath Studio. We have the SMTP, which stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, and it's used mainly for outputs. So it's used when we want to send out information from our process as an email. Then we have the POP3. POP3 is input, so as we said earlier, it's for the input situation where we want to get or retrieve data from an email or the email attachment and use the data in our project. Likewise, the IMAP is used for inputs. And then Microsoft Exchange and Microsoft Outlook can work both ways. So about these, we'll talk about these five protocols as we progress in this lesson. Now, UiPath Studio provides some activities that allows us to send, retrieve, and organize messages. And we can categorize them in these 5 categories. So we have generating and sending automated messages. And we do that with SMTP, Outlook, Exchange, retrieving messages and extracting data, and managing messages. So that is like, let's say, filtering, things like moving from one folder to another folder. We can perform that also in UiPath. To do that, we need to use any of these 3 email protocols. Then for saving attachments, there's no specific protocol we use. Just use anyone that can allow us to work with inputs. So we would use those to save attachments, and likewise for saving messages. Now, with the help of automation in UiPath, users can generate and send automated messages, retrieve messages, and extract data. Email automation also helps to manage messages, save email attachments, and essential information in well-defined and structured form. So let's look at the activities we have or the protocols that we have in. I think before we had the high level look at it. We saw what each protocol could do and how what type of automation they would be applicable for, whether it was input or output. Now looking at it more in depth, you can see that SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. And this uses mail servers and other mail transfer agents with the same or with the formerly named protocol, and they work on the TCP port 25, sorry. Then email as output. So yes, it allows us to send mails out of automation projects. And there is an activity in UiPath Studio called the send SMTP mail message activity that allows us to do just that. If you look at, I might want to open my studio now, and let's look at how the activity is. Let's look at the properties it has and how we might use it. Okay, so the first one we said was the send SMTP mail message.
I think we need the package first.
So if you can't, I think it should be installed by default.
Okay.
But if you can't find it, then you have to install the package.
Okay.
Yes. So these are part of the default packages that UiPath provides. Excel activities are also default, so that's why we could see Excel. So Excel and mail are the Excel mail system and UI automations. Or default packages that UiPath installs when we create a new project. Remember, you added PDF by ourselves, I think it was not 2 classes ago. So if you can't find it, install. So for the standard SMTP, now on our properties page, you can see some fields, and let's quickly go through what each field does. So now there's attachments. This stores an array of, the attachment collection is what stores the array of strings that indicates what we are sending as an attachment. Then the attachment, this is what it's an argument that is also of type string. So if you want, it's for passing in the attachment path, so the location of the attachment you want to send. Pass it in through the argument, so the studio can locate the attachment in our computer and send. So these are 2 things under that section. Then there is the common section. Display name is the activity name. Then timeout specifies the amount of time that we would try the activity before it crashes and causes an error. And it's in default. So by default, the timeout is 30 seconds, but you can set it here. And just to know, the time you set here is in milliseconds. So you need to, want to set, for example, 10 seconds, you need to put 10,000, and then that would give us 10 seconds. Now the email, this is the body of the email. So in our normal emails, when we are sending emails, our emails have bodies and subjects. So this is where you pass the string that you want to be in the body of your email. And likewise, this is where you set the subject of the email. Forward, this is if we are forwarding a message from a different activity. So let's say we have an email that we have stored. Okay, and before I actually go further, we can, to work with emails in UiPath, to work with emails as a whole in UiPath, we need to store the email in a variable of type mail message. So if you want to store an email, that is the whole object that is defined as an email, including the body, subject, attachment, and everything that's involved in an email. You would need to create a mail message type of activity or type of variable. And to do that, you browse for types. So we can see a lot of the types that UiPath provides for our automations. You can simply search for mail message. And then we will use system.net.mail. That's a mail message variable that can hold a whole email object. Now, as I was saying, for the forward, we pass an argument from another mail workflow now, or mail process that has extracted something, as getting an input rather. So So maybe we have done something with IMAP or with Change or Outlook, and we have stored the email object, and then we want to forward that email to another person, another recipient. You will pass that whole mail message variable into an argument and pass the argument here. Now the hosts, these are settings that are specific to whatever provider we are using. So Gmail has its own, so let's see, Gmail port, Gmail port, Gmail port, and server, host port and server. So Gmail allows us to use ports 4, 5, 6, and then it also has some other. So this SMTP hosts is smtp.gmail.com, and then there is a port 587. So there are a variable number of ports. It all depends on what you want to use or what your provider allows you to use. So we'll enter the server, which in this case was smtp.gmail.com. And then the port, which I think was 567, I'm not sure. 587. 587. Or you might use something different. And then this is login. So our logon details. So this, whatever email you want to use to send the message, then the password that is associated with the email account. And secure password is also the password, but then if you want to type in the password as a secure string, so if you want to type in the password via a process, via another process, and if you don't want to store the password where someone else can see it, you will use the secure password and pass in the argument that holds our password. Then there are some other things, miscellaneous, so privacy. That's for when we are publishing into a library. If the body is HTML, just tell the code how it's going to process the email, process the email body. And then there is the reply to. So again, the reply to is an argument also of type string. So it is when we are replying to a specific email address. So we need to input that if we are replying to our activity. The other things that you should look at it in your own time, at your own pace.
Practice.
So let's continue that. Okay, then there is the POP3 or POP3. This is for input. It also has its own activity, get POP3 mail messages. So we can look at that at our own time. Likewise, the IMAP offers useful features to mark messages or to read and move them between folders. So when I said we could talk about managing emails. So you can see that IMAP allows us to manage emails, just to move them between folders and perform whatever manipulation we wish to perform. It's also used for inputs. So it's when we want to extract information from email, and it has its own two activities. You get IMAP mail message, then move IMAP mail message. Okay, so this is just showing us what for the details about the activities. So SMTP says mail servers and other mail transfer agents use SMTP protocols to send on TCP port 25. So you could use the port 25 in that we saw in the properties panel. So you could select 25 if you want to use the send SMTP mail message activity. The image solution. So it's designed for large organizations that want to leverage Microsoft technology for Microsoft Visual to manage as the others has its own set of activities. It gets mail, move, send, delete, exchange scope. Likewise for Microsoft Outlook again. Well, this one is the exchange was probably an enterprise thing, so mainly for large scale business, the Outlook allows us to work also with Microsoft, but this time on a more personal level, so more suited to individual uses or smaller businesses. What can I say? Individual uses basically. It's personal information manager from Microsoft. Uses an email client, so it sends and receives. It can perform input and outputs and has its own activities like get Outlook mail messages, move Outlook mail messages, and so on. Others. Okay. Now, so there, let's automate or let's perform let's use these activities and let's see how they might work. Okay, so let's try out for the send SMTP mail message activity now. The two is where we can email want to send our message to. So we can use in a very amount of ways. We can use our variable. We can just decide to type it in manually. Let me type it in manually. Let me send it to this email. Subject something like activity, and then for the body, just do something basic like this is a test. Yeah. Then so likewise, let's fill in the properties that would allow us to.
So it's still the PDF.
Is it the PDF?
Yeah, I'm seeing.
So I'm on my studio right now. Let me stop sharing and share again. Okay. So, but now can we can we see the studio now?
No, sir.
No, nothing from my end.
No, sir.
No. Hello? Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, I
sir.
can hear you,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Okay.
And are you seeing the studio now?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
That's in the studio, sir.
During this pause, let's go back to into you. Not sure. No.
We can see it now. Yes, so I can see your studio now.
Yeah, it's back.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Can't see this studio. I can see it now.
Okay. So I was really trying to use the extend SMTP email message activity. Then I filled the two sections, so that's the email we are sending it to. You can either fill this in two ways. You can send a variable, such a variable there that will hold the email, or you can just type it in manually. So for this demonstration, I just typed everything here manually with the two subjects and then the body. Then now to fill in the properties panel. So I think we saw the server is let's for those using Gmail, you have to use this this setting for your server. You type in smtp.gmail.com, and then if you want to use Yahoo Mail, this is for Yahoo Mail. I think I'm not quite sure what Yahoo is, but Yahoo Mail should be. Sorry, something.
Yahoo Mail uses the same thing.
This is Gmail.
No, as
Look
in
at the server.
it uses 4654 SSL and 5874 TLS.
And so is it the same? I mean, kind of the same ports.
Yeah, it's the same
And
port.
the server, yeah, but the server now actually is the Yahoo Mail. Sorry?
smtp.mail.yahoo.com.
So For those using Yahoo, or those that want to use Yahoo, you can type smtp dot mail.yahoo.com or something.
Yeah, smtp.com.
Also the mail.yahoo.com. So that's for those that want to use Yahoo Mail. For those that have a Yahoo Mail account and still want to perform this activity. Then once we have filled the port and server, so we then have to type in our email address. So that's the email that will be sending out the email. So I can type mine here, 99@gmail.com, and my password. That's my password. What's my password? I'm not sure my password. Yeah, you can type in your password there. I think if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken. Okay. Let's do this instead. So yeah. And then the password for that account is I set it to, I'm not mistaken, it should be the password. Okay, so we can just simply just type it into the password field, and then we'll be set. What else? If you want to tag other people, like we want to send a carbon copy or a blind carbon copy. So we have the CC and BCC. Okay, so I think that should be everything that you need to fill in. Everything is compulsory for us to fill in the SMTP mail activity. So when we run it, just goes. Service not, so I got an error saying service not available. Exception type, SMTP command exception. Available. What should I change? Change what? Run that again. Yeah, I'm still getting same error. It's not available. Yeah, can work with that, work with that. If I have to, let me check something. Yeah. Updates. Updates.
Hello, sir. There's something covering the face.
Yeah, so okay. Then I think I'm sharing just my window. That's why it's covering. So can you now see everything now?
Not yet, sir. No.
Okay, so what I was doing is I'm trying to update my mail activities, the latest version. And I think that's like solve our problem. Which is required activities. Yes, I accept. Okay, so let's run now, see what happens. Okay. Exception type, mail kits. That's next. Mail kit. Stop command exception. That's same thing. Check. Can we go through everything again? Like the subjects. That's should be correct. But you can see email account, right? So again, let me confirm the email account I used there, but I think that should be the problem too. And the LLC@gmail.com. And the LLC@gmail.com. Password. This be the password. Oh. Okay, service not available. So this is not. For some reason it's not working, but then so I think let's just skip over this, but then I would upload the script that details how to. So like last time when I uploaded my automation on the LMS, I would do that again for a script that actually shows how to use this SMTP mail message activity. Keep trying to quick cut. I'm trying to look at that. I'm not sure. I'll be able to find what's happening before class time runs out. Okay, so we can see the other now categories for email automation. There are two generic email activities that are available for receiving email attachments. email messages on the local drive. We have the save attachments. It allows us to select a folder where we can save our mail message attachments. So let's say our email that we are using as an activity is now comes an attachment. We can use this activity and specify where on our computer we want to save the email. So we would have to include the file path. File path is where the attachment should be saved. Like I have a save mail message. This would save the whole email message, the whole email message object to a specified folder in our computer. Each of these activities also has their own, they have their own properties. So for the save attachment activity now, there are 3 important properties. Then we have the folder part. That's the part of where we want to save it. Then the mail message property. So this holds a mail message. This holds a mail message variable. It's a variable of type mail message that stores the message in contention, the message we are working with. And this is from where we would extract the necessary attachments. And then the attachment property just we create a variable that would hold the retrieved attachments, and then which would then be saved to specified folder. So likewise for the save mail message, it has its own important properties. Mail message, which is the message object to be saved, a file path, a full path, the folder where we want to save the mail message. So let's look at this classroom exercise. We want to demonstrate how to extract from subject and body of emails using the get IMAP mail message activity, and then store in a CSV file. Okay. So the first thing, so let's all try to run this automation on page 60 of slide 49 of the PDF. Now, the first step we were asked to do is insert a view data table in the designer panel. That's this. Insert a view data table. Data table. Now, this activity allows us to construct a data table by ourselves. So it's constructed manually. And you don't want to extract from worksheet or extract from other pattern data. And as you can see, by default, it comes with these 2 columns and 2 rows. And we can choose to name whatever column we want name, and then set other things like what type of variable you should hold. So if you want our variables to be of type integer or boolean, so you can set that, and then subsequently any data in that column would only be able to hold that type of variable. For now, we'll leave it on string, and so we should name the first. We want 3 columns now. It's headers as subject. Sorry?
Declaring a main message, you said it will be type. So is this system.mail or mail.system?
System.mail.
System.mail.
So we can, let's look at it. We can confirm that again from our variables panel. So if we do this, you can see that it is system.net.mail.mail message.
Okay.
So this is the type when you want to use a I want to store an email object in a variable. It has to be of this type. System.net, mail message. And the activity, so you should build a data table with 3 columns. So a column for subject as a string, subject, check. Data type string. Then the next one is from. Also be data type string. And then the max length, let's just set it to 100. Then we will create one more column, which should be body type string also. So you can set that to 100. It's just to limit how many things we want to be stored in the whole column. But then if we don't want to set a maximum, we just want it to grow as needed, just leave the value -1 there, and then that would just extract only the first 100. So that's why I'm storing mine as 100. So you create the 3 columns. Then the next, okay, we confirm this. Then the next step is insert a variable of type data table properties panel and name it dt.getMail. So now output Ctrl K, then dt underscore get mails. Dt underscore get mails. So we have that. Then next step, insert a get IMAP mail messages activity in designer panel. And go to its properties panel, in the mail folder property, enter inbox, the port property, enter 993 server property, enter imap.gmail.com. If you want to use IMAP, get IMAP messages. In the mail folder inbox, ports should be 993, and the server is imap.gmail.com. Next step, in the email property, enter email address in double quotes and enter your password. Okay. So in the log on our email and our email address, I'm going to use this email. Or you can use your personal. Should use your personal email. See at password is, and what else? And we're told to make sure we ensure that the only unread messages property is unchecked. you fetch all emails regardless of their read status. So to make sure we extract everything. If they are read or read, we can check this. And then in our output, create a variable again now of type mail, or let's say new messages. We're creating this to be of type list of mail messages. So because we want to extract more than one message, and we want to store them all in a collection, is a list of type mail message. So you might why we're not an array. So we can use an array also, and then you would need to know how many mails you want to extract to use an array. So because might be emails are more dynamic, emails can grow as the need arises. So we are storing it in a list of mail message. So to get that, you can go check our other variables. So we can type lists. So get the list here is system dot system. So should be under system S. Okay, so for lists, we look for system collection or system collection. And custom activities. System under fine one. Okay, it's not under system, it's under MS core live, then system.collections.generic. So you see lists. C. And then once you click the list, you will now see our drop down. But now you can select what type of list you want to create. So you create a list of messages, and that would help us. Okay, so once we have set our output to in for a list of mail messages.
On the list, is it data collection is selected?
But for the lists,
yeah, data collection.
This was MSC library system.collections. So this one here, you see something about MC core so MS core lib, the system.collections.generic. So lists and see.
Yes, on the drop down, which of them do you select?
Because I already used mail message before, I had it here, but if you don't have your mail message here, have to browse again now and then look for your mail message.
Okay.
Get system.net.mail. So this is here. Add that again, and that will create a list of new messages. Okay, and so that should be everything. Let's see what the next step is in the PDF. And if using Gmail username, then allow Google account for less secure apps devices. Okay. So maybe this was why we're having that error earlier. We meant to allow something on our Google account. Went to input password or create a password. So that going to create, so for those using Gmail, you would have to create an app password. A password to allow you to access your email account via UiPath. Google are so strict with their security. So let me type in the link for those who are using Google. Link is in the chat. Everyone using Google should go to this link and okay, the screen share activity is not in sync. Okay. Let me try stopping again. Let me stop share again. Hopefully it's in sync. If it's not in sync, someone should call my attention now. Okay, so I guess you can also see my screen now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we can see it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can see it.
Once we have, for those using Google, once you have gotten to this page and you have logged in, we need to search for app passwords. App password to allow us set a password that works specifically for UiPath Studio. I think first of all you have to log in. So login is you have to log into your Gmail account again, then get access. So now I want to create one for UiPath. So I'll just name it UiPath Studio for easy access and generate the password. Oh, now copy the password. I should have copied it. Let's do that again. So copy your password and on copy it. So now in our studio, you would put that is a password. Let me change this because I'm using a different account now. Okay. And next step, we have added the account. Put properties panel, then we're going to use it for each activity to get IMAP messages. So replace the item with mail, then box. Now we're going to use for each. So insert a for each activity below our for each. So there is a for each email activity also that is specialized for emails, and then it only works with Gmail and Outlook. But generally, you can use it for each. So let's follow the steps listed in the PDF. And now, and then the input our list of messages. See there. Now in the body of the forget also because we are looking through messages, we have to set arguments now for each activity to type mail message. So system.net or mail message set that. So now that would work just fine for our for each activity. Then the next step is set an assign activity, and then you want to assign a new variable called subject. I'll create a new variable called subject and then store in our subject for the mail object. Let's assign and create a string called subject, choice of type string. Okay, and then assign mail dot subject to it. Likewise, we should do the same thing for the from and for the body. So you're going to put 3 assign statements and create another one called from. And then assign it to mail dot from dot string. You have an error that says from details is not declared. Okay, let's do that again. So assign or create a variable for from details, and then now that would work. And lastly, add an assign also for the body. And now create a variable likewise here and name it body, whatever you want to use. Then assign to it mail dot body. Now that we have extracted the subject, the from address and then the body of the mail. The next step is to insert and add data row activity below the third assign activity. Okay. So below this, add data row. To add data row. In the array row, now we will create an array that holds subject. So subject, 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 body, subject, body, and then the front details. Okay, there shouldn't be a dot here. This, so I would store each of these variables now in an array in the other subject, body, and from details, because that's how our data table is. Okay, no, we have subject, from, and body. So now let me set mine to subject, from, and body. Then in the last row, the last field, we will put this same data table we have created there. The data table is dt get mails. That's dt get mails. So that's the next step after that. So that's the last step there. Okay, you have a write CSV activity after the for each. And in the first text box, enter a new CSV file name called freshmail.csv. A second text box, enter a data variable, dt.get mails. So after that, for each, let's put CSV. We're working in CSV now, so write CSV, and then file path. So let's give it the name mail output. And then we're writing from dt.get mails. Now let's run the process and see. Okay, so cannot set column subject the value evaluate the max length limit of this column. So there's an error with subject in this data table. Let's look at this again. Let me set this now to -1, but there won't be a limit anymore. Okay, run it again. Okay, so we have successfully run the. I hope everyone also ran the same thing. Did anyone get lost at any point? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello, sir.
Hello. I don't know
Can
whether
hear
it's
you.
Everyone also.
to do it again.
But we're just watching you doing it along. Process our
So let's
do it along.
go right again then. So now
Thank-
we can. I think now we can now build now second time. Okay, is that fine with everyone? For the stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing we have to do is to build the data table. Now there is an activity, I think, that allows us to do that. So this allows us to build data tables from scratch using input that we want to enter. So when we don't want to extract from other pattern data, we can decide to build our own. Now we add this activity, and then we give it names just for clarity and just for ease of, to make the process look better. So we named it. You can see there's a pencil, there's a little pencil here. We clicked and then edited and then filled it. So we do that for the 3 columns that we have here. And then after that, we created the get IMAP mail message activity. And we want to read from our inbox. So we are setting the mail folder name to inbox. So you might want to read from any other folder you have in your email, like want to read your outbox or want to read your spam. So you set that to whatever you want to read from. And then the port you're using for IMAP and Gmail is 993. So set your port to 993. And then the server for Gmail is imap.gmail.com. Then for Yahoo, Yahoo is, I think it's imap dot. Let's check the one for Yahoo. It's imap.mail.yahoo.com. So if you're using Yahoo Mail, you would have to type imap.mail.yahoo.com. Okay. And as a string, so don't forget your double quotes. Then we put our email and then UiPath, Gmail in this case now requires us to perform some extra security checks, as we don't put our password in our process where someone can, access it, I guess. So for those using Gmail, I put a link in the chat where you can go to and set an app password specifically for UiPath. So set your app password and name it and get the password that works there. And then that's what you put into this password. Next thing is we want to set our output. So we set our output to a variable of type list of mail messages in the output part of the properties panel. Create a variable control K and name the new messages, and then set our type to list of mail messages. I think we all know how to do that now. And then that's all for the get IMAP message activity. The next thing we did is our for each, and in the iterator part, just change the name from mail and then put our lists, because we are iterating through our lists in the iterable. So, and also to make sure the for each loop works fine or works as we need it to, we had to set our argument to system.net.mailMessage. So that will tell us that whatever object is in the mail at every point in time, whatever object is in the mail at any point in time now is a mail message. So we can then perform other activities as they need to be. So now in the body of our for each loop now, we body of our for each loop. Okay. Yes, I was sorry, I muted myself by accident. So I said we are putting 3 assigned documents, assigned activities now. The subjects of type string, and we are extracting from the mail object now, from the mail message object. We're extracting the subjects of the email with the .subject attribute now. So we used mail.subject, and we got the subject of the email as a string. Likewise, we use the .from to get the from email address now. But then because by design it's not of type string, we have to convert it now to type string. So that's why we use the .toString method also. And then lastly, we assigned the body. So mail.body again, extract the body of the string to a variable named body. Now to add all this information to our data table, we used an add data row activity. This adds a data row. So adds a row of information to an existing data table. And because our data table has headers that we want to comport to a certain pattern, we just we put the subject, because earlier we said subject was the first one, and then from was second column and body was third column. So that's why in the array row now we create an array that would hold our subject in the first, then the from in the second, and then body in the third. So for every iteration through the loop now, these three variables will hold different values, and then each of these values will be added to our data table dt underscore get meals. And after we are done with the loop, okay, the next thing is to write it as a CSV file. Now we can see, or we can look at. So then now we name it, just give it a name, meal output. I choose meal output in this case, but you can choose your own. And then we're writing from dt underscore get meals. So was that clear to everyone now? Has everyone been able to build the automation process?
I think to me, I think it's just maybe when we go through the recording again and then do it on our own, because the method are too long for me just to pick it up just like that. But honestly, you did a good job in explaining it, so I think I will pick it more if
Okay,
I
then.
play it again, yeah, then do it on my own, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so let's continue. So you can let's all run our automation, and then let's look at the output. So you should have created a CSV file for us in the project. So you can access here. Let's refresh. Let's refresh, and then so this is the CSV file. Yeah, okay. So just as a side note, let's set the name of our file to mail output.csv. So we'd create the CSV file specifically, not the generic file. Then run our process again. So that would create our CSV file for us. And then we can look at our output. Okay, so I have run mine, and now let's look at what got printed. See the CSV file here. Let's open it and see what's in the email. So you can see the extracted subjects of emails from our email, from my email in this case, then the from. So you got the email address of everybody that sends me an email, I guess within the context of whatever the studio had extracted from, and then the body. Got the body also. Let's look at what's in the body. Text. Okay, I don't do that. So it's copied everything, okay, but then the body is still empty. The body is empty, so let's check that again, and that should not need a body. string. Yeah, but so has everyone also run this automation now, and has everyone seen their output CSV file and checked what's in? If it correlates to what we expect should have been outputted when we run the process. George, have you run this process? George, Kristen, Edwin, Emmanuel, Esther, Faith. Hello? I'm not getting any response.
So me off.
Yeah, still working on it.
Okay, so no one has run it successfully. So let's give everyone 5 more minutes to work on their blender. Let's see our output. If the person can take a picture and put it in the chat, let's see that you have done something. Okay, that table, yeah. Okay, Robert's laptop is dead. Robert, sorry about that. Then you can follow on your phone and practice later on with via the video. Okay, is anyone done yet? So are we still waiting? Toby said you have to go over it again on your own and practice, and okay, that's fine also. It's fine. Okay, 5 minutes. So we have 2 minutes left for our 5 minutes elapsed. So I expect that, for those who have their laptops now, I hope should be a majority of us. We should be getting, we should be rounding up the process. And then let's see our output. Okay, let me try. Let's look at the SMTP again. This. See. 587.
Hello, sir. Mr. Timileyin.
Just
Hello?
I think his network
Yes.
is having issue. Don't know. Is it
No,
there?
hello? I can. Yeah, so are we all done now? Are most of us done?
sir, anyway, first of all, my system, I have not been able to unmute myself. So I have to use my phone to connect now.
Okay, sorry about that. So, did you try leaving and joining again?
No, I didn't just try that. So I'm trying to set my Google security, the Google account for less security app. So I'm under my Google account now. So I'm trying to locate that place.
Okay, so continue, I guess continue, and you understand the basic drift of how to do the rest, right,
Yeah,
George?
just follow step by step.
Yeah, okay then. So anyone else completed and posted? So no one has posted their picture, their image, or the output in the chat yet. I guess we are still taking our time. So since it's 8:45, I guess that's time for our break. So we can use this break to finish it, and then we'll continue after the break.
Okay, so.
Yeah, okay then.
Hello, sir. I don't know if you can guide me on that setting that Google account.
But have you gotten to your Google page
Yes,
and
sir.
app password? So you can just search this search Google account. You can search for app password. So that will take you to that page.
That security.
So they need to confirm again. So type your password.
And under security, so I don't
Please
know.
go back a little, sir. Please just kindly go back a little, sir.
Okay, so on your Google account page now, let me go back to that page. So on this page, where we have home, personal info, and other things. So on the search bar, you can just search for app password. So type in app. And from the list of things that would pop up, you see app passwords there.
Okay.
So click on app passwords.
Then you enter your password again.
Yes, so to confirm your account, enter your password. And then now you create a new password for UiPath Studio. Select app, just give it a name. So I gave my UiPath Studio.
Then you generate.
Then copy that password that was created, then paste it in the UiPath Studio under the password section. Then you can continue with the rest of the steps. Okay, so I was looking at the SMTP thing again. Let me try. Sequence. Let's disable this for now. Yeah, run again. Okay. So that was also the issue with that send SMTP activity. It did not put that password that I was not accessing. And I think it's Robert, sorry, Sam here. Sam or Robert. Is Sam here? Sam still here. Yes, Sam. So was it your normal password? Okay, you used for the thing, or did you use that app password?
It's my normal password, but with what you just now, I've already generated the
Password
app,
for, yeah.
so but I've not tried it to know if that will solve the issue yet.
Yeah, so all right, try it and let's see. Let's strike that one off list of potential issues.
Oh, sorry. On the
Just,
app, I say app password, should I select third-party app or less security app access?
can select third-party app.
Okay.
Third-party app. Then did he ask? Delete. Okay.
So there's no place to add a new app on my own.
On the you can't see this select app thing there on your own.
Even me, I can't find app password.
No.
On your Gmail account. No.
Yes, on my Google account, I can
Sorry,
only
Google
find
account.
password manager.
This select app, I can't find it on my own.
Okay.
Okay, you. So are we sure we clicked on this? I mean, for George, we clicked on, what's it called? Our password, and not something else by mistake.
So I select yes, the third party.
They will select our password, not third-party apps.
Okay.
Select our
Okay.
password. Yes. And then I think that was Daniel who said he could not see the app
Yes, I
password.
couldn't see it. I only saw password manager.
Let me try send the link. Maybe
So
that would.
if I search for app password, what I'm seeing, what is displaying there is a less secure app access, the web and app activity. Those are the two things I'm seeing.
less secure app access. So try less secure app access.
Then if I pick that one now, it will tell me that some app and device use less secure sign-in technology. This setting is no longer available.
No longer available. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so Daniel and George, try clicking that link in the chat. Maybe that will take you to the app password page. And I feel like it should. Then you have to log in. I try that and let's see what happens after that.
So I just use the link you sent now. So the same place it's taking me to. So what is now displaying is displaying three things now. The less secured app access, web and app activity, and third-party app with accounts.
So you said the first one, the less secure app, said something.
Yes, less secure app access. Second is a web and app activity. Third one is.
Third one is.
Let me just type it again.
No, that's.
Okay, third-party app with accounts.
So you're on your laptop now. Share your screen. Let's see. George.
Okay. Access has not been granted.
Okay. I think you're on two. Let me grant the other one. I granted when you're talking on access.
Okay, that is my phone.
Okay, so try now.
Okay, for me, the link you gave took me straight to the password.
To the password. So to the app password, right? Or to your personal password.
But said the setting you are looking for is not available for your account. Go to your Google account.
Okay, so you have one of those special accounts. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what you mean by. I don't know what you mean by special account, sir.
Well, some people have accounts that are, when I say superior, that is what's superior. So your account is very, very secure. You don't want to give anyone access.
So, sir, this is what it's showing.
Scroll down, let's see.
Automation developer.
Scroll down, George. Yes, I can see your screen.
If I
scroll down,
okay, let me just remove that thing.
Let's keep scrolling down.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Titus.
I did it and I got the add password. What they should do is when they are in their Google account, then they will now search for app password. When they click it, it will now show them select app and the other one. They will now click at that select app, then now go down to others. Click that others, then put uipath.com, then generate to now bring out the password. That's
Please
what
come
I
again, sir.
Okay, Titus. So can you come again? Say one more time so they can do it.
when you get your Google account, then search for app password. When you click it, you will now see select app and the other select. Then you go down, scroll down, click at select app, then go down to others. When you click it, then you now type uipath.com and click generate. To not generate the password for you, you will see it there. Then it will tell you this is your app password for your device. That's what I did now, and I got it.
Okay, quick one. For my account, I can't even find UiPath there.
No, you will not see it. You are the one to type it from that select app. When you click others, down. When you see a drop down. When you click at that select app, you see a drop down. Then the last one, you click it.
Oh, can you see my screen? If you can see my screen, can you direct me on where to go to see or select app?
Scroll up, go back, click at home.
No.
Yes. Oh yeah. From this search Google account, put app password. Yes. Enter.
So this is what is displaying.
Remove. Okay. Yes. No. Remove it. Remove this word. Just click app. Remove the.
Once you press enter on the app password, it will take you straight to the password manager.
Yes. Click enter. Let's see.
This is what it's showing.
This is not how my own is.
There's something different about it.
Yes, there is something different. Yes. It will bring your account. Then you will see
When
select app and select. Then you
I
see generate. Generate will not be highlighted until you now put that uipath.com to be highlighted.
For my account, for mine, I saw the generate. I saw the sites 46. I saw the sites and the apps, but
Yes.
I missed all the sites and the apps. I do not have UiPath Studio, and I can't find. I can't find any path, any place to generate.
So George,
Check your WhatsApp. Check your WhatsApp. You
I
said?
think George and Dan, do you guys have two-factor authentication granted on your access on your laptop? Like, have you approved 2FA?
I think
No,
Have you
yes.
approved? I think you need to approve your two-factor authentication. Like, create one with your phone or something, and then I think that would allow you to now share passwords with other apps. Did you get that, George?
Yes, sir. Let me go to my.
It's been security.
Okay.
So my phone setting, I go to security.
Yeah, and enable two-factor authentication.
Okay, I think it should be under app and permission.
Please close your edge process and click OK. Edge process. Click OK. So in edge process. Okay, I've turned on my two-step verification.
So now try creating an app password.
You said?
So try creating an app password. Search app password again and let's see if it comes up.
I should go back to that password manager bar.
Yes, to your account page or to your Google account, and then search for.
Okay, app password. Yeah, I get it now.
You can see it now.
Yeah, I've seen the app password now and it's showing me that I drew like there is none there currently.
Yeah, so now you can create one for UiPath and then use that password. So, George, have you also gotten yours done?
Two-factor authentication on my phone.
Is it UiPath.com or just UiPath?
You just name it anything you want to name it. It's the password that's important. Okay, it's 7 minutes past 9. So let's continue with so Darling and George. Hopefully,
Hello, sir.
fix that. Yeah, Robert. Hello.
I got an error message. It says no such host is known.
No
It's
such
showing
host.
me under the get IMAP message.
No such host, and you use the correct server login. That's outputs. Yeah, and then use port 993.
993. Yes, exactly. Am I supposed to quote it?
No, 993 should be an integer. So just enter 993. My IMAP. It's my IMAP. Yeah. 993 inbox. Email your password.
That is generated password from the.
Yes, from the app, from the app password manager. Put that everything.
Yeah, that's what I did.
And it still said, what did you say again? Sorry.
No such host is known.
No such host on. Okay. But host.
Interesting.
What should that be? So. Robert, I still trying to see what could have happened.
Okay, for me, I can't find secure. What is this we're supposed to look for? Allow Google account for less secure apps and devices. I was only able to generate a new password for and it's not even a password of my choice. It was just the system.
That's how it works.
Okay, all right then. Thank you.
So for Robert, I think you have to try again. Because from what I quickly checked, Uncle said it just happens intermittently. So it happens. I mean, not every time. It happens once in a while. Doesn't mean there's an error in your process, but then probably an error in the connection between UiPath and Gmail. So try again, or you can try opening a different process and trying it and using the activity again in the same settings.
Okay, I will.
Yes. Okay. Let's continue. Let's continue where we stopped. So we looked at. Creating or getting mail messages and iterating through them and performing processes on our email. We created our CSV file, and hopefully, for those who have not created it, when the video gets released on the LMS and on YouTube, you can go over it and practice to your heart content. I think today is Friday, so you have your whole weekend to, to hone your skills and become better at it. So now, during the course of using this get IMAP messages and SMTP. So we inputted our password manually from the studio, but then in the work environment, that is not ideal because probably the point of a password is that you don't want anybody else to see the password. So entering it in your workflow and your process is defeating the whole point of it being a password. So there are two ways now of securing our passwords so that we can enter it into our workflow process and it will still be private or known only to us. Now, the two ways are via our UiPath orchestrator credentials and then through Windows Credential Manager. So when we get to UiPath orchestrator, we'll look more at orchestrator credential manager. But then for now, we'll look at the one that Microsoft provides on our laptops or our computers. Now we have this. If you can go to your search bar and type Windows Credential Manager, manage Windows credential. So you can navigate to this. Can you all see my screen? Sorry, I'm sharing my screen. Hello? Are we all? Am I audible?
I see your screen.
Yeah, so I was saying that we want to ensure our passwords now are secure when working in a work environment or in an external environment. So to do that, we have two ways. We have UiPath Credential Manager and then there's the Windows Credential Manager. Now, for the UiPath for the orchestrator credential manager, we will look at that later on in the course when we get to the topic orchestrator and they're talking about everything that it does. We will look at how to use that there. But then for now, we can use our Windows credential manager. So to get there, just simply search for credential manager in your search bar and you should get the link this to this control panel feature. Now, to add our password, you need to create or add a generic credential. So you can see that there are 3 sections there. Now, there is Windows credentials, certificate-based credentials, and generic credentials. Now, for this case, you want to add a generic credential. Now, you can add that. Then, internet network address, you just give this a name. You can call this Gmail login, just to know that it's for Gmail, for our Gmail account. Then the username would be your email. In this case, this is mine. And then the password is the password we created in our password. Okay, so once we have that, you can now access these credentials.
So we generated with the app password. Are we going to save it to be reusing it?
So you can save it and be using it, yes, for
If you want to
subsequent.
go and retrieve it again, is it possible?
Sorry?
Maybe you want to go to check the app password that was generated, or you need to generate a new one.
I think it's generate a new one because I tried to check, but that will be something you would have to explore in your Google account. So you can check your password manager and see the password there, open it and check if you have forgotten it. So I mean, just you can check your password. You just have to go to your password manager and look and locate it and check.
Okay.
Okay, now so after creating this generic credential on our credential manager, you would go back to our studio now, and then in the space where we want our password, or before we do that, you would have to check UiPath credential activities. So you can check your dependencies if you have it. If you don't have it, you have to install that from our package manager. So same steps. Go to official packages. And then search for credentials. So you should see UiPath credentials activities. Like we did with other things. Can install the latest versions 2.00 in this case. So we install and save. So now let's wait till it gets added. Okay, so once we have installed our credential activities, now to get our password and usernames, you would have to use a get credential activity. So let's search for credentials in our activities list. Now we are getting, you can see that there are two credential or two sets of credential activities. There is the available orchestrator, and then there is the available system. So we use the system one in this case, but when we go further and explore UiPath orchestrator, we will be able to use the orchestrator activity. So now you click on get secure credentials, and then for the targets now, the targets would be the name you stored the credential as. Remember, when we are creating a generic credential, we use the name there. So you would have to input that name into your target. Okay, so now my name of mine is Gmail login. So I would go to my studio and type in Gmail login in the target. And then now to get our output, we create a variable for the password now. And the variable must be of type secure string. So you can call this Gmail password. And then check after creating the variable, you can check the type and confirm that it's of type secure string. Then for the username, call it Gmail username, and that would be of type string. Create your variable there again and name it Gmail username or any name you want to use. Username. Okay, so now we can check the variable panel and see that indeed the password is of type secure string, and then the username is of type string. So everything checks out. Now in IMAP activities, you can then add it in the password. So you can put our variable here now. Sorry, so it's being secure password. Our variable name is email password. So we just add email password there. You can then clear this one out. And then for our email, we can put the username we created, so Gmail username. So put that there, and once again we can run our activity, and we would see run our process rather, and we'll see that it should run. Okay, so let me create a different file so we'll be able to see that it's actually creating something different. Let's name it now output 2 and run again. So set it to output 2. And run it again now. So now we can see on our project panel that we have indeed created another CSV file. Sorry, I disabled my activity. Let's do that again and see the new file that gets created. Invalid credentials. Okay. So I got an error, invalid credentials. Check again. Get secure credentials, Gmail login. Did I check it? Did I put in them correctly? Those credentials, Gmail login. Gmail login, username, password. Is my password correct? My password correct? That's the question. How do I check? Then I want to check my password again. But you get the whole photo of how it should be. So that is a way of making our passwords more secure and less accessible to other people who will be looking at our processes. And so continuing on the track where we stopped, so we looked at this activity, we performed the activity, and we saw our output. For those who have done it, we saw output, and we saw how to use the get IMAP message activity, and likewise the send SMTP activity. So once you've gotten those passwords, you can create as many processes as you want with emails, with sending, create as many processes as you want, whether you want to send emails or receive emails and perform processes on said email addresses. So there's also a classroom exercise in PDF that, okay, as I think we did that classroom exercise. And there's a practice exercise again that you guys should look at in your spare time. So in your, let's say, personal reflection time, well, because look at the activities there and try to perform and try to create the workflow that does the exact process that is listed in the PDF. So that brings us to the end of automation concepts and techniques. We've looked at extraction, we looked at how to extract, like types of techniques UiPath has provided for extraction. So we saw the screen scraping, data scraping, and PDF extraction. We used the data scraping wizard and screen scraping wizard, and we practiced on extracting data from PDFs, the automation techniques, and the techniques that we can employ to automate processes, whether it's with Excel, Excel spreadsheets, with emails, or with workbooks. So our next topic now is selectors. So now we're looking at selectors, and selectors are a very important part in UiPath, so in UI automation. So when you're working with your user interface, you would need to be able to, create valid valid selectors that would work for whatever case we want to do. And we also need to create dynamic selectors in the case of when we are working with multiple things. So, but for now, let's look at what a selector is now. A selector is, it's basically the path from, or the path UiPath, the path our robot uses to access a specific UI element. A selector is the path that the robot what's it called? Our UI elements. So before we go into that, let's look at UI interactions. So what are UI interactions? These are activities we perform that interact with UI elements on a screen. So UI interactions are the actions performed by a user to interact with the system at user interface level. So these are actions we perform on the things we can see or the things we can work with on our computer screen. Now, UI elements refer to all graphical user interface pieces that constitute an application, such as windows, checkboxes, text fields, and drop-down lists. So any graphical user interface that is on an application is what we define as a UI element. So, for example, on my screen now, you can see this hamburger menu, you can see this button here and this tab. So each of these things are UI elements that we can access or can perform actions on in our UiPath Studio. Now, there are two types of actions we can perform on UI elements. There are input and output actions. Now, as we might imagine from the name of the action types, input actions are actions that a user performs and is used to send data into an application. So we are inputting something. For output actions, it's when actions that are used to extract data or retrieve data from UI elements. Now there are some, let's say, core or general actions which are listed under each type of UI interaction. For input actions, we have things like clicks. When we are clicking on an element, that constitutes us passing an input into the UI element. So the input in this case is a click, whether it's a right click or a left click, or double click, single click. Those are inputs we are passing to an element. Likewise, typing text. So typing text into, take for example, using our type into activity. So typing into this field now is an example of an input action. Then shortcuts, mouse hover, so hovering a mouse, and clipboard actions. That is the copy and paste. While for output actions, so these are things like getting text. So using our maybe get text activity, or using get text with OCR, get text with other things we saw. Then finding elements. So finding elements is an output action. Identifying images, and also clipboard action. So copying now is an example of an output action. Now, input actions. Let's dive deeper on the concept of input actions. Input actions have their own associated methods that are used or that enable us to perform these actions depending on whatever environment we are in or we want to employ our process in. Now, there are three inputs. Okay, so I think there are three, let's say, input actions now, or input methods. There are three input methods, rather. Those are our default and send window messages and simulate type. So if you remember earlier in the training, we were told to select something about sending window messages in one of our processes. That is one of our methods. And each of these methods have their own advantages or disadvantages over the others. Now for the default action, or the default method rather, is default method uses our hardware, so uses our keyboard and our mouse to perform the input action. So take, for example, if we are typing with default now, the UiPath Studio or the robot accesses or uses our keyboard. It's not like we see our keyboard buttons being pressed when the typing is going on, but then it uses the drivers that are installed for our keyboards, our mouses and mouses. It uses those drivers to perform the actions, and you can see that because of that, now it has 100% compatibility. That means it can work with any environment, it can work with any activity, any UI element, any application. And it doesn't work in the background because it's using our physical thing now. So any user let's say user input or any user action that is performed with those same physical components like keyboard and mouse now would interfere with the process. So it's not it doesn't run in background. And its speed, so speed is it's okay, but then it's not the fastest way to perform operations. It can send hotkeys. Now hotkeys are like special keys that our computer understands. So hotkeys, I think our hotkeys are things like enter a hotkey. Keys like enter, control, alt, and then other special combination of keys that we want to use. So things like shift, and there are a lot of hotkeys. I think Control C, if I'm not mistaken, also a hotkey. So that one now is a combination of two keys of Control and C. So there are other things that you can look at, or that you probably know of: Control C, Control V, all those shortcuts that we have on our keyboards. This is an example of hotkeys. So we can't do that with the default input method. Now for window messages, window messages, when they are 80% compatible. So actually, the way this works now, window messages, when we use our computers normally, or when we use our keyboards, for example, to type something into a field, the operating system reads information from our drivers, as I said, and then sends a quote and unquote window message to the moment. Now, what this window message method tries to simulate is it creates those specific window messages for whatever action we'll be performing. So normally when we typed control, our laptop would have created a message that tells the app that, okay, we are typing in control. When we do that with Studio now, it will go into the operating system and simulate, or not simulate, but then recreate that whole process and then try to perform the actions. So as we can see, based on how that works, it's 80% compatible with all applications. So it will work for, but then in some cases, we might not be able to use send window message. And then because it's not using any hardware, it's not using any physical components, it can work in the background, or it works in the background. But then the speed is similar to that of the default or the hardware. And then we can also send hotkeys. So we can do all those Control C, Control V, Control P in any case. And okay, I didn't talk about the last field, the last property. That is the empty field. Now, empty field means that when we want to type into a field or a UI element, we can choose to clear the contents of the UI element before typing into. Now, default and window messages don't clear the UI elements. They don't empty the field. Wow. Okay, for the last one now, the simulate type and click. This empties the field. And the other properties for simulate type and click, it's 99% compatible with web apps, 60% compatible with desktop apps. So you can see that it has a lower compatibility when working on the desktop compared to the other two input methods. But then when you're working on web apps, so those are apps that are on the internet, it has an almost perfect compatibility percentage, 99%. So that should work for virtually all apps, save for the ones that are particularly troublesome. So likewise, it runs in the background, so we can set up activities or input actions that use this method and then perform other things on our laptop and not interfere with the process. It's the fastest input method of them all, so it's 100%. So it's about twice the speed of the previous two, but then it can't send hotkeys, so it can't use all our special actions, special keyboard actions on whatever activity we'll be granting or using this input to perform. Okay, so we've talked about how what all these mean, and then now we'll look now in further detail into the default input method. Now, the default works by, it works by moving the mouse cursor around the screen. So it moves the physical mouse now. So this mouse that we can see that I'm using to point at objects. Whenever we set a method, an action to use this method, our physical mouse would move around the screen. So that's why I said something like it can't work in background now, because if we click on that, if we use our mouse or touch the mouse in the process now, that would interfere with the whole process that's moving the mouse across the screen, and it would cause errors. Likewise, the keyboard driver is used to type the individual characters. So it's similar to what would happen when we physically type letters or type characters on our keyboard. Now there is there is also the so by default, all input actions use the hardware or default hardware event or default input method. So on, like for example, you have a type into, like we saw in the previous classes. So our type into activity now. Under the options, you can see the two fields for send video messages and simulate type. So when the two fields are both deselected, that means we are working with the default or with the hardware event input method. Okay, going back to our PDF. Now, based on how it works now, there are some implications, there are some limitations that each of this default method has. So the number one implication is that the user cannot touch a mouse or keyboard during automation. So you can't work on your laptop while you're performing automations with this simple method. And then it has a lower speed. We saw that earlier. And strong points that you can use special keys or hotkeys. So like enter, tab, control, and other key combinations. The limitations also does not erase previous text. So that is the empty field property, or the empty field property that we saw earlier. And it doesn't work in background, so we have that also. Now, for the send window messages, replace the window message that a target application receives when a mouse or keyboard is used. So it replaces or it recreates the message that would normally have been created if we were typing or using our mouse physically, and to recreate them in the application. So because of how it works, clicking and typing are done instantly. So it doesn't take much time to type with send window messages. And because it's replaying this thing, it's not actually working on our physical drivers or physical mouse and keyboard. It can work in the background, and it's comparable. So it has a similar speed also to the default method, because I mean, you can imagine why that would happen why do you have similar speeds? Because remember I said when we use our keyboard and mouse, we create, or the operating system creates some messages to indicate what is happening to indicate what information is receiving from the drivers. So now these two, but they basically work the same way, but with the only difference being that this one now doesn't rely on the drivers. It just tries to recreate those messages rather than getting the actual message. So they both have similar speeds because they work similar to an extent. They work similarly to an extent, and then it also supports special keys and hotkeys. But then has the added advantage of being able to work in the background, unlike the default. And likewise with the default, it doesn't clear out the previously written text. And it only works with applications that respond to window messages. If you have an app, for example, that doesn't use these window messages, those apps would be what to fall under the 20% of apps that we saw earlier that would not work with the send window messages. Now, lastly, we look at the simulate type and click. Now, the way the simulate type and click or type/click activity works, okay, is that it uses the technology of the target application to send the instruction. So it works with whatever app you are running your process on. If you're working with Microsoft Word, for example, it would, interface with Microsoft Word and look at what technology Microsoft Word uses, and uses that same technology to send instructions send instructions from the process to the application. And because it works that way, the clicking and typing are also very fast, as they occur almost instantly. But the only thing that can cause there to be a delay is the user system in this case now. So depending on how system is quite slow. Even if it's quite slow, you almost would not notice the difference. So you can for all purposes say that clicking and typing occur instantly. Now it also works in the background, and then the actions are a lot faster now because you're already working with the application. So now there is no need to try to recreate something from our operating system or something from our driver. But then because of this, now there are some limitations or some compatibility limitations. So depending on what you're working on. So if you're working on desktop apps, most times you'll get it, but let's say 4 out of 10 times you would not be able to use it. Now the strong points for this method are it can automatically erase previous text. So unlike the other two input methods that don't allow us to clear out or empty out UI elements before typing in. Simulate type / click automatically does that for us. And then user can also work on other activities during the execution of the process. So because it works in the background, now we can run other activities, or you can do that things on our laptop or computer while we are using processes that rely on this input method. But the limitations it has is that it doesn't support special keys and hotkeys, so we can't use this input method when we want to do things like copy with Ctrl+C or paste with Ctrl+V. We can't use
Mr. Tony, we are not following it again. We have reached our saturation limits.
Is that
Daniel?
Well, Daniel, you make more space in your what's it called, in your memory bank. So you would support the more things that are going to be coming before we call it a day. So I think we have 8 minutes more before the class is over. So we'll just look at this simulate type, and then tomorrow we will demonstrate how to use. Oh, sorry, no, on Monday. So thank you for reminding me. On Monday, we'll demonstrate how to use each of these activities, and we would try to at least gauge the differences in how they work. Okay, now so back to what I was saying. The limitations are that doesn't support special keys, so we can't use all those key combinations like Control+C, Control whatever, Enter and Tab. We can't use those hotkeys. And then, so based on where we are working, it can have a lower compatibility than the other two. So if you remember in the previous slide, you saw that for desktop apps, it had a 60% compatibility, while for web apps has 99% compatibility. So you can deduce that most the times you would like to use this MP method is when you're working with web apps, as well as apps that are on the internet. So basically any web app you can think of. So in your automation processes, you can imagine where you would want to use things like that. So imagine you want to work with your Gmail app now on the internet. You imagine that you most likely prefer using simulate type click because it offers the highest speed, and then it still works with that. And then we have 5 minutes more, so I'll bring the class to a close at this point, and then open the floor for questions. Anybody that had some concept that they did not quite grasp. This is the time to ask your questions before we call it a day. So raise your hands if you have any questions, and then I will call the names in order of how their hands are raised. Okay, Daniel. Daniel. Yep.
I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening, Daniel.
Um,
I hope you have found more space in your hard drive.
no,
to
I
take
literally couldn't follow the last 20 minutes of class, but I'll watch the
Yeah, what
now.
did we do? And
So
yes, I'm
I
listening.
sent a mail yesterday. I don't know if you saw the mail.
Email, okay.
1799@gmail.com.
Okay, I will check that. I think I was busy. I was a bit busy today. I'll check that. I'll check that. Yeah, and
It's
I'll.
about my
The same
PC
error,
that
yeah. Yeah,
my PC is not
I saved the article, so I'll send you the link.
okay.
Then,
Secondly, the automation we did tonight, I did it, and the error I got was get IMAP mail messages expression activity type visual basic one requires compilation in order to run, and sounds like Chinese.
I didn't get that.
You said?
I didn't get that. I was saying something about Visual Basic.
Yes, yes, that's the error I got after running the automation for the one for yes, now the one for our mail automation, email automation, like the class activity we did earlier, where we used
So you
the get time up messages.
Visual Basic. Use share your screen. Share your screen. Let's see. David or him hands up.
Okay, so good evening, Mr. Timay.
Good evening, David.
Again today.
Good evening, David.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a little challenge, although before we started this class tonight, I wanted to work on something today, and that has to do with being able to download an Excel attachment from my email and then extract the data from the file and enter it into an online form. Now, but the issue now I'm having, or the challenge I experienced after running the file, is that it says, I think it has something to do with the email, the get Outlook mail message, because they're actually in two parts, the get data and then process data. So the process data runs fine, but the get data, that's where I'm having a challenge. So I don't know if there's something that I have to do to connect my studio to my email. I really don't, that's where I'm having a challenge now. Hello, sir. Did you hear me, sir? Hello. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, okay. It went off. I think he had network issue.
Repeat. Can you repeat your question again?
Okay,
You were
okay,
saying
so
Excel attachments. You could not download it. If I'm not mistaken.
okay, I wanted to be able to download the Excel attachment from my email, then use the data from the downloaded file to fill in a form on the web browser. So what I did was the get data and the process data. So when I run the file, when I run the workflow, it gives errors like regarding the Outlook, the mail itself, but the process data runs fine. It's just that's
That the Outlook.
the Outlook,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Now,
That's
so
challenge.
firstly, are you logged into your Outlook on your laptop
Yes.
or your desktop? You're logged into your Outlook.
Okay.
Because you need to be logged in before you can use your Outlook activities on UiPath Studio. So check if you are logged in first.
Okay, so let me open my screen.
Then Daniel, looking at Daniel's screen. Visual Basic of last compiled. Basic. One class compilation. Daniel, so I think we did the same thing we did again last class. Okay, but then I've taken a screenshot of your this error, and then I think I'll send you the article, another article again that I used to fix this same issue. As I guess you did everything correctly as we did in class, right? You followed the exact steps. Daniel,
Yes, I'm with you, sir. I got you, sir.
did you follow the, now I'm asking, did you follow the exact steps we did in class?
Yes, I
So
followed
let me
all the
click on the
step-by-step instruction that
okay. So first of all, I think scroll up, go back to your process. So Daniel, I think you like using quotes. So go back to your error. Go back to your process. I saw some errors. I mean, I hope that's what. I think that's what most likely fix it. So go back to your workflow. Precisely, go back to the assign activity.
Okay.
Go back to the assign.
Okay.
First
Why
of all,
I added quotes? Why I quoted it was without quotes, it was bringing out the error sign. Let me show you.
remove the quote first. Remove the second quote. So let's see.
I had the error sign
Click outside.
when I removed the. That was why I didn't add. That was why I had
And
to add the.
that might also be because I'll scroll up to the for each section.
Just
scroll up, Daniel.
Please.
And you're not scrolling up, Daniel. You need to scroll up to the
response. Response is not coming for them. I think my app, my software is okay. Very good. So I'm here.
Okay, now you see that first, that for each, remove the quotes from the mail that is there. In our process, we do not have quotes there, so there should not be quotes there. Remove that first.
I have error now.
That is because of now in your variable call, you see that our M now is small letter. Your M is capital letter.
Our what?
See the M you use there now. The M you use there is small letter. How the M is in here is capital letter. In the mail.subject.
Please give me a minute. Let me do all this adjustment and attend to another person.
So David, have you? Oh, sorry, Josh, give me 1 minute. David, have you now confirmed if you are logged in and?
Yes, sir. I've been logged in. No, I've been logged in right from my Outlook is always logged in. Even the message I sent to my Outlook is already in my inbox.
Okay, and you still have an error.
Yes, sir.
Get Outlook. So can you remind me again about the error? Sorry, just to like you could. The error is with you not being able to download the attachments.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Not being able to download
attachments. Let me look at this Outlook activity and see exactly. Outlook, get Outlook. Then George. So George, what's happening, George?
Yeah. So I've run my process. It just showing a connection issue.
Connection issue. Did you use the correct port?
Yes, I use 993 now.
993, then SMTP, and use the password. I think someone else also had that issue, connection issue. What I think is that you should try again. I think I said it happens intermittently on me when you're working with IMAP and SMTP. So try again. They can try opening a different process and do that again.
So the message is, let me just read the message for you. That no connection could be made because the target machine actively refuses it.
Target machine actively refuses it.
Then on the exception type, it wrote system.net.socket exception.
You said system dot what?
System.net.socket exception.
The net of sockets. So for that also now, not come across that particular error. So it's something that would need more research. So send me a mail again. And
so you can't just go through what I did to know if there's any area I'm missing it. But I believe it's just a small error.
Yeah. I hope this was just a small error too. I have not come across that error before. So on top of my head, I can't imagine where the error is coming from. But yeah, you can share your screen and we will see if we can locate it now. Otherwise, you say, have to send me a mail again with the screenshots, and then I'll respond.
Can you see my screen?
To your. Give me. I'm coming. Wait, I can see your screen now.
Okay. So these are all the settings.
Settings. You're joking. Password. 3 inbox. So the settings are all correct. Settings all look correct. imap.gmail.com. Put to mail. So run it again. Let me see. Run it one more time. Let me now see the error that pops up. Get IMAP connection. No connection could be made because the target machine activity refused it. Okay.
I'm out MS. You know you put 30 seconds that time. Stop that one. I didn't put anything.
That's not the issue. The issue from what we are seeing now, the issue is with sending, because with the target as the IMAP, or with the target machine where you're sending it to. There's most likely a problem with your connection. So I think you have to send it to me via email, and I'll look into it and get you reply to you also via email with a solution. Send it to me this night, and then by early tomorrow you should get something. Now for David, did you use the save attachment activity? David.
Yes, sir. I don't know if you can give me permission to share my screen.
So let me grant you permission. David also. David, can I share your screen now?
Okay, sir. Okay, so this is the error I'm getting.
That Outlook messages condition is not. Okay, so let's go back to your get Outlook mail message activity. Get Outlook mail message. Click on the activity. Let's see the property. See the properties. So display name, timeout, account. So for the account, you need to put your email address there. And then the mail folder is in quotes. So remember, it has to be a string. And filter. Where folder is inbox. What else? Go back again. Let me see. Options, filter, then filter, marker is red. So also, I mean, is the message you're reading, is it a red message or an unread message?
It is an unread message. I've not opened it
Unread.
yet.
Okay, then it's fine. Like, I think you should also remove that marker as red, so do not affect subsequent running. If you're reading the same message. Try it now, though.
Okay. Same thing. Some execution error.
Make sure it's not valid. Okay, so check the filter. Go back to get Outlook mail message and check the filter. That condition could be going to be filter. Subject.new task. So let's try clearing the filter first. And let's see.
Meaning I should play it off.
Yes. Are you trying to use a filter? David, are you trying to use a filter? What do you want to filter exactly?
Just the mail, like just the mail. The name that is inside the Excel sheet, and then company, just the details inside of it.
Okay. Now for that now, what's the email subject or
Okay, user data. That should be
string, that's filter, to be string. Okay, so I guess you can use something like this now. Let me paste something into the chat.
okay.
So go to the chat and we're done.
Okay, so
Try this object. Let's call the subject name. Okay. So check the chats. Now it should be coming through. So replace subject name with the subject you want to filter.
okay.
Index was out of range. Non-negative and less than the size of the collection. Save attachments. Okay, so now we need another error in the save attachments activity. Save attachment.
This is how it's meant to be, though.
Hold on, save attachment. Is it Outlook now?
Yes, in Outlook.
Not something. Yeah. Okay, could be that the message, right? Message was read. Go back to your get your what do you call it? Outlook, get Outlook message and uncheck this or increase that top number top to probably like 50. So that will check the first 50 mails. Maybe some other mails have come in a different thing. And also uncheck that only on read messages. So just to be safe, then you can, after it works now, you can then fine tune it if you are sure that it's always be on read at every point.
I'm trying to send you the mail.
Okay.
I was trying to send the full project, but it's giving me errors. So I don't know whether I need to send just only the mail and the project.
I don't think Gmail won't let you send things like that.
Okay, I can use them. Okay.
X out of range. Okay, still elements from the collection. So that must be non-negative and less than the size of the.
Or I can attach to my Google Drive with the link.
Yeah, you can try that, but I don't think the Gmail won't let you send things like that.
Okay, let me attach to my Google Drive.
David, so I want to do something for me. I want you to click on debug file. Oh wait, before you do, okay, click on debug file first. So let's see step by step where the error is coming from. Started. Okay, that was quick. That was quick. So don't click, go back, don't stop it. Checking, click on this watch, the watch panel now. So you can see output, local, watch, intermediate. Click on watch. Yeah, below that, just below that. and add something, mail messages in this case. Then we run it again. Let's see what values are being stored.
Okay, do I stop and rerun? Start.
Yes, or restart, you can restart. It's okay, change. So go back to that watch panel and change that mail message to mail messages bracket 0. Okay, so I think nobody else has a question. So good night, guys. See you again on Monday. Have a nice weekend and all that stuff.
Mr. Timila, did you see my output?
I saw your output. I was saying